As a young man in the North Bundaberg suburb of Gehgeh, among other things, Uncle Eddie picked tobacco for a job. He was about 17 or 18 back then in 1966. He worked long hours as was usual in those days back in the 60s. But for the young man he loved spending time on the river. The river was rich with interesting things to do, and there was always plenty of tucker to be found in the water and on and around the sandy banks and the nearby underscrub. Hunting for the family meal was a daily exercise. One could say it was a necessity. Uncle Eddie would get together with his cousins and go down to the river near Queen's Park. They'd catch fish using a line or a trap, usually bream, whiting or trumpeter, and if the fish weren't biting, they'd catch a porcupine. Porcupines, or Gehgeh as they're known in the traditional Gurang language, are a fairly docile animal, so it was easy to walk up behind and catch them. Uncle Eddie and his cousins would get them out of logs or stumps, roll them over and pick them up by their feet. The Gehgeh's quills were used to make jewellery, and the meat was cooked on the open coals to feed the family. In those days, you could light a fire anywhere, with no fire restrictions. Uncle Eddie said they never wasted anything back then. The family got together with each individual contributing to their chore, although he says it was never a chore, it was fun. They socialised with their siblings and family as they gave thanks for the meal. And it sounds like his version of multitasking when they're catching up with friends while shopping. The porcupine quills scrubbed up really well. With a bit of a rub in the dirt, they'd come up nice and clean and shiny, said Uncle Eddie. The quills were varnished. Their natural colour, which is a two-tone brown with black tips, were very pretty. Uncle Eddie says the quills were strong, almost like ivory. An incision was made into each quill to thread some twine through and hold them together for a necklace. For Uncle Eddie, it's the love of the land and the respect of the earth, and his peace-loving ancestors' innovation to create a use for everything so as not to waste. These practices became tradition that was passed down. Back in the day, these things were made out of respect for the earth, and sadly, things like jewellery created from quills are not made anymore. People try to replicate those traditional items now using man-made materials as mementos of past times and to honour and remember the essence of their culture, preserving the earth and life. These are artefacts, Uncle Eddie says. Respect to all life is something we hold dearly.